Shawmut, Pennsylvania was a small hamlet sitting by itself. It was Shawmut. It was a town of its own. In actuality, it was just another company coal town of its era. If you look at my prior video of Helvetia, Pennsylvania, you'll see a similar chapter in the Industrial Book of Pennsylvania. But what defines it as a company coal town is the end chapter. Information on Shawmut, Pennsylvania Brick Company is not readily available. With the local history society, a visit might be in order to try and locate further details, but overall the history continues to center on Shawmut itself. And as a whole, the info is, well, pretty depressing. There was a history of Shawmut with lumber, coal, and brickyards that thrived before the 1893 date. I only know this because there are records stating that the town was thriving, and then it slumped and the quote, sheriff came to town and shut up the mines and the big brick works, unquote. But a revival occurred with a possible second wind thereafter. The brick factory again ran from the 19th century into the 20th century, with exact dates being pretty sketchy. The Shawmut Valley had the Shawmut Brick Works and the Shawmut Clay Manufacturing Company, using up their clay deposits. A fantastic fire clay lay all about the coal veins. The clay deposits were quite a variety of colors and seemed to make it a hot spot again. So, reinforcing of old buildings, it got the town rolling once more. Unfortunately, because of some poor planning and poor location with lack of easy availability for railroad access, the rail had to climb a steep incline. It switched back around and it would take far longer to reach the town and equal far more expense. It is said that if Shawmut worked more with the neighboring new and tiny town of Brockwayville, now Brockway, Pennsylvania, it would have survived and thrived. But that would remain speculation, as we know, because towns shot up and shot down in those early industrial years. Shawmut was one of those. It is mentioned as doing well in 1897, and in 1904, an overseer at the brick factory developed a new patent, the downdraft continuous brick kiln, and a cream-colored Shawmut-specific brick became famous across the eastern U.S. as the strongest and lightest brick made to the time. Hopes of an excellent paving brick were aroused. There was a sale to the Niagara Tunnel Company, which gave hope and a turn in the positive direction because they thought the railroad could possibly have easier access to the region and the industry would take off. And off started the work on the big kilns being built, modern machinery being brought in and placed, and the factory turned out some beautiful bricks in large quantities. But soon the bricks piled up in the yards, immense stacks gathered, and the sales were not what they should be. In the end, the bricks failed to garner any further support as they were soon outperformed. They were described as, quote, too hard and not tough enough, unquote. Icing on the cake appears to be a large fire that swept through, destroying the mill, and it seems to have destroyed any future hopes as well. The Shawmut Brick Company was later owned by the Shawmut Mining Company. The name Shawmut Brick Company is still registered as active in New York State with jurisdiction in Pennsylvania, which is interesting. Bricks left over in those piles in the brickyard were slowly carried away by many of the locals, and they can be found today in many a driveway and structures built in the early 20th century. At least the locals did not let them go to waste. What remains of Shawmut today is but a scatter of houses up and down the road, just a fraction of what existed at one time. In the area of the actual brickyard, you'll see a scattering of piles of bricks, walls, foundations of the roundhouse kilns are still there, small coke oven entrances going into those roundhouses, large stacks that are standing very tall in the area. Bricks lie about, as do chimney flues in various forms. Up on the hill, there's the foundation of the old brick mansion, which was used as a company office for part-time, and the home of the overseer of the factory works. Nothing more is found up there. You'll see some local homes using the bricks and the chimney flues as well. Before I finish, I want to say thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give a like. Subscribe if you want to learn more about history, adventure, exploration of people, places, and cultures. Leave a comment. We love to interact with our viewers. Shawmut was like any typical company town. When the industry left, the town was locked up and the workers moved out of the company houses and on to the next town. The last chapter of a typical early Pennsylvania industrial company town lay with the same story of the town itself to the Shawmut Brick Works and the Shawmut Clay Manufacturing Company. In the end, it was simply like the bricks, too hard and not tough enough.